Welcome to WAM 20. In WAM 20, we're taking workplace apprenticeship math. It gives us math of everyday life that we'll use in different aspects of work. Sometimes you'll use it in your future, other times you won't. So we have lots of different chapters like slope and rate of change. Got ones dealing with triangles, ones that deal with volumes and spatial things, and 2D, three-dimensional shapes, and moving into financial math. Our first unit is slope and rate of change. So when we're dealing with slopes and rates of change, you've heard this term rise over run a lot of times when we deal with slope. But before we move forward, I want to talk about how I'm breaking up the sections. So each chapter has sections like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, but we're going to be using a workbook in which it breaks it down even smaller little portions. So here in 1.1a, we're going to review working with ratio and proportions, go through a couple examples together, and then there's these build your skills sections. So these are skills that you're going to complete, and then you'll check to see if you got them right with an answer key that I have. Once you're feeling ready, at this point, you would ask for a bell work, and I would give you a bell work that deals with just this section here. Then we would move forward into another example, and then there'd be another build your skills section that you'd complete. And then you get a bell work when you're feeling ready after you've checked your answer key yourself. So then we'll continue on into like 1.1b. There's a new skill, working with slopes. And we'll carry into here, do some examples together, and then there's another build your skills where you'll be testing your knowledge on those questions, and then you will check your answer key. These build your skills won't be marked and won't be included in your mark. It's just for you to practice to get better at the stuff that we're learning. As you carry on, there are some more examples and more build your skills to practice, and then the bell work I will mark after you're feeling confident. I'll give you bell work and you'll mark it. We'll do more examples, more build your skills, and then at the very end, there's a practice your new skills that's practicing everything we've learned in all of 1.1. These are sections that are kind of like a big review of the whole thing. Same thing, you'll complete. However, you'll notice there are a few questions here and there. We'll probably either do odds or evens, and if you're really good, we'll carry on, and if you're struggling, we might go back and do the other ones. If you did odds, you'll do evens. And then in the end, I'll do another bell work of this, the big section. So you'll probably get one question for at the end of each of your build your skills, and maybe get 2 or 3 questions at the end of the final section of 1.1, like here where you were doing the practice, your new skills. You'll have a bigger bell work. And then after the entire section or unit is done, unit 1, you'll have a review and an exam. So let's get started. 1.1, rise over run. Like I said, you probably had heard this with Mr. Thal, talking about slopes and stuff like that. Rise over run, it's just a ratio. It's a comparison between two numbers with the same unit. Okay, so for example, some machines require a mixture of oil and gas to run, like different handheld chainsaws and things like that. So lots of times the mixture of gas and oil depends on the engine that's there. So the one engine we're dealing needs 15 liters of gas for every 1 liter of oil. Now, the ratio of gas to oil, so notice that they wrote gas to oil. So gas is going to be written first, then oil second. So is 15 to 1. So you can write it with the words 15 to 1, but when you write it like this with a colon, it means the exact same thing, or as a fraction, 15 over 1. Okay? So if it said oil to gas, we would write it as 1 to 15, or 1 over 15. It just depends on how this statement right here is written to how you actually write the ratio. A proportion is slightly different. It's a statement of equality, or equality between two ratios. So That equal means that there's an equal sign, and you'll notice down here in this proportion there's an equal sign. 15 to 1 is equal to 30 over 2, and it's basically a fraction or a ratio of the exact same ratio but in different numbers. So this one just got larger, 30 over 2. Or you could write it as 45 over 3 or 60 over 4. Okay? It's just a proportion that states the equality of everything. So let's look at an example. We've got a recipe for vegetarian chili, 56 chopped tomatoes, 30 ounces of kidney beans, and 15 ounces of whole kernel corn. Question A says, what's the ratio of corn to kidney beans? So corn is first, so let's go look at it. Corn is 15, so it's 15 to kidney beans, which is 30, so 15 to 30. Now that is a great ratio, but usually we write our ratios in the smallest way we can. So we've got to figure out what common factors between 15 and 30 and make it smaller. Well, I think 15 goes into 30, I think by 2. So 15 divided by 15 is 1. 30 divided by 15 is 2. So the best ratio for corn to kidney beans is 1 to 2. Let's look at B. What's the ratio of tomatoes to kidney beans? Okay, well, tomatoes were 56. Kidney beans is 30. So I'm going to look at a common ratio that might fall into here. Well, 56 to 30. 3 would go into 30. Does 3 go into 56? If you're not too sure, you can always use calculators, right? So 56 divided by 3. No. Maybe 2. Okay, so let's clear this. 56 divided by 2 is 28. Okay, so 28. Oh, sorry about my writing there. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, so we have 28 to 15. Now we have to decide, can we fix any of them to make them smaller? 28 divided by 3, because 15 divides by 3. No. You can check, but that's probably the lowest it can go. So the ratio of tomatoes to kidney beans is 28 to 15. If it said it the other way around, kidney beans to tomatoes, we'd have to write it as 15 to 28 or 15 over 28. Remember, you can write it as a fraction or with these colons in between. Okay, so the ratio of kidney beans to tomatoes would be 15 over 28 or 15 dot dot 28. Just depends on what's stated first. Okay, they go through a little bit of more explanation, but we're sitting at your build your skills. So good luck, build your skills, and then when you're done, check your answers and ask for a bell work.